Mario games are always sort of the benchmark for quality on any Nintendo system, and if Mario Galaxy is any indication, the bar for the Wii has been set very, very high. This is, in essence, the game that every Wii owner has pretty much wanted since the system first launched. It is exactly the right mix of accessibility for newer players and challenge for more experienced players. With a combination of absolutely fantastic level design, some really stellar control mechanics, and the best graphics on the system, Mario Galaxy is the best Mario adventure since Mario 64. Mario Galaxy opens with the same basic Princess Rescue premise of every other Mario adventure, except this one has something of a celestial theme to it. Your goal is to collect all these different power stars that have been spread throughout the universe, and you have to travel to all these weird and wacky galaxies where they've been hidden. The thing that really makes Mario Galaxy so engaging is the galaxies themselves, or more specifically the level design. These are some of the weirdest and most bizarre platformer levels ever created, and a lot of that has to do with the celestial theme. You'll travel to these different galaxies and you'll find yourself wandering around on these crazy spheres going upside down and sideways and all over the place. If you're on, one sphere and there's another one nearby, you can just kind of jump and you'll sort of gravitate toward the other one. You can kind of float through space in different areas, and you can use these launch stars to jettison you off into these previously inaccessible areas. The thing that makes these level designs so memorable is a combination of factors. One, these things aren't really even planets or anything. There's kind of these weird, abstract puzzle creations that just sort of exist out in the middle of nowhere. The designs are very pleasant to look at, but at the same time, fiendishly clever in their design. All the various traps and pitfalls designed in each level are just downright dastardly, and there's all sorts of different little clever ways to get around the different levels, whether you're floating around on a giant flower that you're kind of waving the Wii remote to spin forward, or using things like a bee costume to fly around, or a giant spring that you can use to jump extremely high. Mario Galaxy controls very much the same way that Mario 64 did, but with a couple of Wii-specific introductions. For one thing, Mario has this spin mechanic that you can use just by shaking the Wii remote. It's his basic attack that you can use to knock out enemies, but at the same time, you can also use it to engage the launch stars and play with a few other mechanics within the puzzles in each stage. You also spend much of the game pointing the Wii remote at the screen because you can actually use the pointer to collect all these different star bits, which are both a weapon and the game's currency. You can shoot certain enemies with them to take them out from afar, but you don't want to waste them all because you need them to basically unlock more levels as the game goes on. There are also lots of neat boss fights in Mario Galaxy. They're not the most challenging out there, but they're also lots of fun just because of the way the boss fights play out and some of the different combat mechanics you have to engage in to fight them. Mario Galaxy isn't a game that's going to leave you wanting for content. There's tons of different galaxies to explore, many of which you'll want to go back and replay, either just because they're lots of fun or because you want to go collect more hidden stars. The game actually gives you a good reason to go back and play through the form of these various comets that will sometimes enter orbit in various galaxies once you've beaten them. They sort of change the rules of how that galaxy will play out, so like speed up the various enemies in the game, or make it a timed run, make it so you have to race against a doppelganger Mario. It creates kind of this nice little dynamic to where you'll actually want to go back and get those hidden stars because it's sort of a whole new way to play the different levels. If you don't stop to go through and collect every single star the first time through, it'll probably take you around 12 to 15 hours to beat the game, but it will take you considerably longer than that to go through and collect every single star, try all the different levels and all the various different comet versions of the levels to get everything. As excellent as Mario Galaxy's gameplay might be, the visuals might be even better. This is, without a doubt, hands down, the best looking Wii game there is. The graphic design is just top-notch, top-quality work. It's all art design, too. I mean, the technicals of the graphics engine are very impressive, but the way the art is just sort of scattered throughout each individual world, the way the characters are designed, the way the animation looks, everything is just absolutely gorgeous to look at. There's not an awful lot to the sound design beyond the really excellent soundtrack and a few kind of quirky sound effects, but the soundtrack really is quite memorable. It's a lot of classic Mario tunes from all throughout the lexicon of Mario's various adventures, done, orchestrated, and modernized. The thing that really makes Mario Galaxy so special, though, is the fact that its Mario-ness isn't necessarily what carries the entire game. Sure, there's plenty of nostalgic stuff in there with all the classic enemies, all Mario's classic abilities, and, the awesome soundtrack in there, but at the same time, the thing that really stands out is the level design and just the mechanics of how everything plays. It doesn't have to be a Mario game to make it awesome, but the fact that it adds that nostalgic level on top of this really stellar gameplay makes Mario Galaxy something really, truly awesome.